Here's a message of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
It's Friday, my dudes.
Thank God it's Friday.
TGIF, everybody. Welcome to Have No Sphere right here on the Iron Rail Media YouTube channel. My name is Josh Corey. We are glad to be with you this evening. I think the general consensus is we are all tired, just exhausted mentally, emotionally, physically. I think I am just pooped. I'm what they would call plum tuckered in the Ozarks. So let's just jump right in and say hello to everybody, starting off with my fellow co-host from our show on Truth Frequency Radio, The Ironworks, Mr. Zachary Zabala, or you may know him here on YouTube as Good Times for All. Zach, how are you doing? How's your week been? How's everything going?
Hi, Josh. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I haven't been sleeping normally lately. I'm only sleeping like the most about 4 hours. And then I've been taking a nap in the afternoon. It's weird. It's I don't know. But besides that, everything's been all right. Went to the store this morning. It was about 60-40 maybe. There was a few more people wearing masks than weren't. None of the workers were wearing masks. And nobody was giving any kind of looks. I sat and had a conversation with a guy who was wearing a mask, and we were only a few feet apart. So it's been really lax here in Denver. They've been doing a good job on not forcing it too much. You know, I know some states are getting real crazy, but here in Denver, at least, it's been manageable for those of us that know it's all nonsense.
Yeah, I've got my mask. I don't ever wear the motherfucker. It's been sitting down here in my studio for no good reason.
Yeah, there's a box of masks up in the room, but yeah, I'm not wearing one.
I've heard they're useful if the dog farts.
I might try it out then.
But how do you get it to stick on their ass?
We're having Mexican tacos tonight, and
I guess you'll find out.
Some bites, yeah.
Well, Well, the
I was
voice you just
visualizing. Oops, I was visualizing that the little mask over the butt would work really nice on Minion.
That's good stuff. Well, let's say hello to Mrs. Cami Nodell. Cami, how are things holding up in your household?
Well, you just got to hear in my household. I'm pretty lucky. Zach went out and did the shopping this morning, so I can't complain about that. I didn't get to see the store. Can't complain about that. I have a backyard and a trampoline, and the snow woke up this morning. It was like 18 degrees with 6 inches of snow on the ground, and currently it looks all the snow is gone, sunny green, and I'm guessing close to 60. So gotta say I can't. There's 50, 54 degrees, not bad. So lot to be thankful for. It could be a lot worse. I know I've got it being in Denver and that a lot less stressful than a lot of people, and I take that with a lot of gratitude. So holding that attitude of gratitude.
That's the way to do it. Well, the other person who piped in there was the Adam Meakin. Adam's been out
Gosh.
in the thick of it. So, how are things looking on your end, Adam?
Yeah. Shit week. Great day. You know, thing, man. But like you said, it's feeling knackered. And knackered. It's weird energies.
Wake up!
That'll do. Yeah. But yeah, had a great day today, mate. But lots of positive people. So being on that front, you're seeing both the worst of people and the best of people. But today was just the best. It was lovely. Lots of nice, positive people being nice. Went and visited a nun. Checked that the telephone diagnosis of her shingles was correct. An odd one that was, walking down to the nunnery just to check that. It's funny how I can do it, but doctors can't.
Get thee to a nunnery.
Get thee. I said, don't worry. She says, I'm not worried. Says, I know you're fully empowered with the full armor of God. She said, yeah, good day. A really, really nice day. Lots of nice people. And I got my split screens.
Nice.
So I now look, it's really big, white, really big, thick frame with this piece of shit perspex in it. But if you come up to the counter now, it looks like I'm on telly.
Very
Looks like
nice.
I'm on a big TV. I'll get a picture for next week because it only arrived today. But it's funny. Him on that telly box. Yeah. Yeah, good day, mate. I know you're the same, but how's your week been, pal?
It's been good. Wednesday started hazard pay for me. So I get an extra $20 every day that I work hazard pay on top of my normal hourly wage, which works out to be like an extra $400 a month. Although I don't think I'll get a full month's worth of hazard pay out of it. I think I'll probably get maybe 3 weeks. I'll be lucky to squeeze out 4. But, hell, I guess it's worth it. Just doing the same thing I've always done. And at least I don't have money to stress over. God knows what this household would be like if we were all stressed over money to boot. It'd be ridiculous around here. But other than that, just trying to keep my head above water, trying not to succumb to some of the craziness that's out there. Although things are kind of winding down here in St. Louis. It seems like things never got really ramped up like they did elsewhere. But for me, the general vibe is that things are going to, well, I described it a few minutes ago, kind of like the tide as it leaves. Once that tide's gone, you just got to see what kind of horseshit crap is left over. The muck and nastiness that is left from the tide. And I think that's kind of what we're going to have to deal with once this whole crisis is finished. We're going to have still a bunch of nasty crap that was left behind that we're going to have to sort through and deal with. But that's okay, because I'm not going to let it get me down. The title of this show is Anger or Fear? Choose Freedom.
I think this is really going to be a test for all of us. I
Mhm.
mean, when this is backfiring in their face, now, once it all settles and everything, like you said, I really think the protesting and everything cannot stop until people are held accountable for this, at least for some parts of it. I mean, who's telling people to go and somewhat fabricate death certificates to make it seem like more people are dying from this than they really are?
The Centers for Disease Control.
Yeah, these people need to be held accountable. There needs to be some, reparations for their actions. This is not acceptable behavior in society. You yelled, you screamed fire in a worldwide movie theater.
Yup.
Not okay. If I were to go to a movie theater with 10 people, 20 people in it and yelled fire, that'd be a felony.
Surely would.
So these people need to be held accountable for this. This is a test for us too. We can't just let it end and say, okay, good, it's finally over.
Whew. At least I didn't die.
Yeah, and none of that will happen if we don't do it. So I'm hoping that I can be one of the people that have the nerve to go up there, and be one of the people that say, hey, this isn't okay and we want something done. Someone needs to be held accountable for the actions that have been taken. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. They'll just put up some sacrificial lamb, just somebody to placate the loud masses that are out there demanding somebody's head on a pike. And
That not begun this week with Donald Trump sticking the WHO on the altar. Is that not one way of viewing that? Either that, or he's the Messiah, who's on, as you alluded to earlier, and you used tide, but draining the swamp. Is that what we're about to see? What unveils? There's no evidence to say whether he's good or bad, is there? But there's evidence for either paradigm, Josh. For me, again, you can look at it from a positive point of view. But hopefully, we do see some bodies when the tide recedes, or you can look at it that it's just all part of the game, controlling the masses. There's the patsy, that'll do. Oops, wasn't none of your government's faults whatsoever. It was just the fault of that bloody World Health Organization. We put all that trust in them, gave them all that money, and they're a bunch of cunts. Silly, we won't do that again. Back to normal. All this is the virus coming. Yeah, mate.
we need to start an organization for the health of the world, and they can oversee all these pandemics.
Ow.
That's the solution. We're the People's Judean Front. We're the People's Front of Judea.
Fucking what?
And we'll gather all the best people from all the other health organizations.
Now that they're out of a job.
Yeah.
And what we need is somebody with experience in managing like health issues across the world. Only somebody out of a job like that. Is there some crazy eugenics Irish doctor lying around anywhere that we could maybe rope in? That's up for roping people out of their houses the next time there's a pandemic to make sure we quell it in a sensitive and humane way.
Maybe, but we're talking about some medical issues are very complicated and sophisticated things. I don't think just having this one doctor is going to cut it. I think we need to really reach out across the board and try to bring in as many experts that we can. People like Bill Gates, because he's so.
Yeah, let's get as many computer
knowledgeable.
programmers.
Exactly.
We need a lot of computer programmers on this,
That's what we need.
and people who sit on the board of the vaccine companies. That's a good idea.
One that says we need
let's
a
ask them
small
if we should take a
population.
vaccine.
Right. We need to find somebody that thinks most of us should be dead anyway, and have him determine what is healthy and what is not.
Why the hell isn't Elon Musk involved by now? Yeah.
He has been. He provided ventilators to California, or was going to. I'm not sure if he did or not, but no, he was right up in the headlines.
And I wasn't sure if you guys knew this or not, but flamethrowers kill the coronavirus on contact. So
Aha.
there's that.
So now we know.
Mm-hmm. And actually, I didn't just pull the title of the show out of my rear like I usually do. This was actually a bit of a bastardization of a blog post written by our buddy Salamo. That is SYLLAMO. You can find his blog over at salamo.blogspot.com. And it's really just kind of his take. He's titled his blog, the whole blog overall, is My Mind in the World, with a subtitle that says, Don't follow me, lead yourself. And his most recent, and he's been pumping them out. This is probably 8 or 9, I think, over the last month, which is redonkulous.
Yeah, for the quality of his writing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's really pumping them out. I'd love to hear it again, Josh, if you wouldn't mind reading it.
Not at all.
I mean, I was ready to go this morning after I heard this.
So he just wrote this on Wednesday, just a couple of days ago, the 15th. And again, it's titled Anger or Fear, I Choose Freedom. Do you know where your anger comes from? Do you ask? Is it inside you or outside? Same for your fears. Where do they come from? How many, which have been projected your way, have you accepted as your own? How many of those fears require your ignorance to exist? Do you enjoy living in the duality of those states? Wouldn't it be good to find the roots of them in order to rid yourself of them and live more freely? All it takes are honest questions. Here's a short list of some common fears. Did you know that there's a top 100 list of phobias? So number 1, the fear of death. So perhaps the most common, and which is the parent for a great many other fears, including all of them that deal with physical security. The fear of pain or suffering, fear of sickness, fear of heights, which could really just be a fear of falling, fear of water, fear of drowning, fear of scarcity, fear of flying, fear of the unknown, fear of change, and the list goes on and on. Number 2 is the fear of judgment of others. I wonder how this could be used to manipulate. So perhaps we have been conditioned to judge others so much that they will toe the line and behave while censoring and policing themselves. This fear is hugely based on guilt. Look at the fear of failure, and really, failing at what? At what is projected to be success? At what you have built up inside your mind through years of prompting and nudging through various sorts of input? How about the fear of public speaking? Will I speak clearly? Will they laugh? What will they think? Am I dressed right? Will I look foolish? And to whom? It never ceases to amaze me at the seemingly infinite number of scenarios we create in our own minds in order to not even attempt doing something. Fear of crowds. And this one could fall into either of the above, as it could be a fear of people watching or judging, as it could be of people being a deadly threat. So I wonder how many fears are based on fearing other people. Have we been so conditioned to believe that this world is so perilous to our well-being that we cannot survive on it without medical intervention? That to live naturally could be a risk to everyone, and that the most people are capable of wanting to hurt, kill, or rob you? Are we to the point where we simply fear anything which is presented and anyone which is not? Perhaps one need only look at how many people actually believe that all insects, reptiles, and amphibians in Australia want to kill you. Just because something can kill you doesn't mean that it wants to or will. Just look around the room that you are in right now and think of all the things that can kill you. Are you afraid of them? If not, why is that? Is a kitchen knife not something which can kill you? Is it because you're familiar with it, having knowledge of it? Is it because it is not invisible? What about your electricity? Do you have knowledge of that? Are you afraid of it? If not, why? Is it because someone else takes care of that? If the wall outlet suddenly began to spark, zap, zap, would you react in fear? Or be capable of examining the situation and coming to a rational conclusion? Turn off the breaker? One thing of note is that many fears which people seem to exhibit these days are projected from outside sources, usually quoting experts, and are based on the receiver remaining in ignorance. Fears based on ignorance. Now, this fear is not like the fear of the unknown from above. This fear can also be classified into both categories, but this fear will be defended to the end. For admitting it means admitting one's ignorance, and that word has been twisted to mean stupidity and looked down upon, judgment. The whole thing is ironic, really, for I view stupidity as defending one's ignorance, because you can't get past that without first admitting the lack of knowledge. As I mentioned in my article before, speak honestly to yourself about what your fears are and where they actually come from, especially those which you submit control of your life to, and encourages you to force that submission upon others. Here's a personal experience on fear. One of the jobs I did, I had a multi-tool and a knife on my belt. One day I go into a bar after work to relax and play some pool. I play with a woman and her boyfriend, and we sit and chat and drink. The man leaves and the woman stays, and we continue to talk. At one point, the woman joins some younger men, 18 to 20, and calls me over to partake in some cannabis, which was being passed around the table outside. So I join. We smoke, we talk, we drink. And then the subject of fear comes around as I was climbing radio towers, and they had expressed their fear of heights. When I asked what it was that I feared, I had no answer. I said, well, I don't really think about it, so nothing really. I immediately found out that this was not an acceptable answer, and had about 5 of those young men stand as the largest one decided he had to stand me down and intimidate me. I stood up face to face and realized that they were intent on beating the fear into me if they had to. So I looked this young lad in the eye and gently removed my folded knife from its sheath and placed it on the table, which apparently is called pulling a knife in those parts. I then proceeded to tell the man, okay, big man, if you want to show me some fear and prove that you're so tough, big man, there's my knife. Open it up and plunge it into my heart, big man. Go on. It's right there, and I offer it to you, big man. Do it, big man. He picked up the knife and threw it across the yard while calling me crazy, and then he and his friends murmured and left. Now, was I afraid? Probably more so of getting beat and some idiot causing permanent damage than the knife in my heart. The point is that I do not accept nor validate fears based upon ignorance, and neither should anyone. People talk big, but inside they're afraid, and they don't even know why they fear, nor why you must. In retrospect, I can see how the programmed ego needs to validate its irrational fears, even if only in its own mind. Fear is not a way to live. It is not a policy maker. When examined, even on the surface, most fears simply fade away with awareness. Yet we have built an entire civilization on it. Our system of obey or be punished is one based solely on fear. Yea, how evolved are we? Is this really how we humans want to live? So what is wrong with you? Stand up. You are a lot stronger than you believe. Question everything. You are capable of so much more intelligence than you give yourself credit for. Be free. by refuting the authority others may claim upon you. And most of all, mind your own business. It is not up to you to enforce bad ideas. It is up to you to challenge them. Haven't you had enough yet? What will it take for you to want to be free? Freedom is never afraid, and it begins in the mind. That is our good buddy Sylvain Lemereau, Salamo.blogspot.com. Check him out over there. Really go dig through his entire back catalog of blogs. He is quite the prolific writer, is a thoroughly entertaining read. Just do it. Just head on over there. SYLLAMO.blogspot.com. Thank you so much for that, Salamo. I thoroughly enjoy reading what you send, so do keep it up. Man, that was awesome.
Yeah, Ian Adams has a great point. If you turn off your radio and your TV, that's like 90% of most people's fears
Yep.
comes from those. I still have a fear of sharks
And tidal waves.
because of the movie Jaws. Yeah, the tidal wave, that was a dream. That was. But no, the movie Jaws, when I was very young. I've seen the ocean almost a dozen times now and never been in past my ankle. Still have no urge to, really.
You're going to need a bigger ankle.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, yeah, so much of fear is just not having it. Like when I was roofing, I roofed for a couple years and I thought I was really scared of heights. I still am I was always cautious, but I kind of got used to being up there in places I wouldn't have gotten up to before. You just kind of get used to. I still didn't like going near the edge if there was concrete down there and I was higher than 2 stories. That still kind of freaked me out. But yeah, it's more it's not the fear of heights, it's the fear of the ground.
Rushing up real fast?
Yeah, you know.
I don't know. I get in those. I always wondered if I like died in a different lifetime by falling or that, because I don't think I'm afraid of heights. But if I get high, again, this crazy fear takes over and vertigo, and it feels like it's pulling you down to the edge. It's horrifying, completely horrifying. And yet, logically, I haven't fallen, or I have no reason to be afraid of heights at all. And in fact, it would be something that, I climb trees and things like that. As a child, it takes more than a tree height, I think, to do it. But I've frozen up a few different times. One time in a mine shaft, which was really inconvenient. But it's amazing how the fear can just completely immobilize you.
Yeah, the last time I had it, I was climbing up a fire tower in a state park in Indiana. And I got up probably almost up to where it'd be about 4 stories. And the ladder started going the stairs kind of turned into a ladder. And all the thick pieces of metal started turning into thinner pieces of metal. And I knew it would be safe, but something in me, I just froze. I just stopped right there. I was like, okay, this is as high as I'm going. All right, I'm going down now. And my buddy just started laughing at me. It was just so funny the way you said it. He was like, yep, that's it.
I got to the first tier of the Eiffel Tower, Ian Marie, mate, and my arse went. I've never been good at that. I mean, it's not heights, is it? It's as you say. I'm scared of depths more than anything. it's the subsequent depth that's created that is the issue. But yeah, I just froze. It's just one thing.
You're aware that it's not going to be like falling off the front porch and hitting the ground. That there's a lot more real estate in between you and the ground
It's definitely a death thing, not a height thing, because like I've gone up parasailing and I thought I would be scared to death, and I'm not. I love it, and I mean I go up on the 1200. I'll take the highest, parasailing, but the idea of landing in the soft ocean is wonderful to me. With a parachute landing, and that it's not frightful at all. In fact, I've had them drag me through the water with the parachute on, but you're right, it's hitting things and dying. So you get in a weird thing like a mine shaft or something where it's underneath you, and you let go, it's all over with, or down a canyon wall or that. Because you're right, it's like a helicopter, things like that. It's very selective.
Yeah, that's a good point, Adam. I'm not necessarily afraid of being up in the air. Doesn't really bother me. It's being so far away from the ground. Because if I were standing on the ground in front of a 30,000-foot hole, I'd be just as nervous, even though I'm got 2 feet on the ground. It's not being up in the sky that terrifies me.
Cliff edge. It's the fear that if you go that far, you no longer have any control on reality. Reality will control you. I think that's where most of the fear stem. It's like what's coming out now. Seeing it in chat, people grabbing onto this, that, and the other to stem the fear, which is the big fear, the fear of the unknown. It's the one thing we don't know what's going off is what is going off. And that is the only fear, certainly that I'm feeling. Once I know what I'm dealing with, it's a matter of you've got to deal with it, isn't it? But I think that's what's fantastic at the moment. They're generating that. They've generated all the possible outcomes. But all we do know is we don't know the truth. I think that's the real grip they've got on us at the moment. That's the only thing that's causing me a bit of anger, Josh.
I almost think it's safe to say right now that, like, we know that there's an agenda in place, and we also can kind of look at it and say that it's not going down exactly how they expected it to. I think that's pretty apparent, like with their little simulation numbers and things, that it's not happening. And again, I've seen too much evidence with, people flat out saying, predicting exactly how it would go down. And I don't know, we've all seen the videos. I won't go there. I won't, do anything that endangers the channel, but it's crazy, that they're up to something. And I think we can kind of, see where it's going with the vaccinations. Seems to be the best lead on it.
Yeah. It does seem to be indicative of the direction they're heading.
As far as I know, we talked about the comments, which I still think the comments are fascinating. And, I really felt after studying comments that they're, again, almost misunderstood, because according to legend, they almost come to wipe out plague and to wipe out bad things happening. And yet they're associated with the bad things. So again, are they the bringers of it, or are they the throughout history, the things that actually the energies that break it up? But Comet Atlas, for people following, has broken up into many different segments, 2 main ones and several small ones, and so it doesn't seem to be a big thing. But there's another comet right behind it called, of all things, Comet Swan. So I thought I would throw that one out. Also, not a blue comet, not like not a blue one, not a black swan, but a green swan.
Oh, a green swan.
A green swan.
Where the fuck is the horizon on a green swan?
I'm going to leave that with you and let you take it from there, Adam.
That's funny. Sorry, Cameron.
No, that's all right. It was quite a
Broken up.
weird tangent I went off on.
Oh, well, no, but you said it's broken up.
So Atlas,
it
which was
started
supposed
breaking up. What was it, April 7th or April 6th?
somewhere
That's when
right
I started
in there.
paying attention. I didn't
Right.
pay it any mind until then, right before it was supposed to start getting visible to the human eye. And yeah, that's when they disintegrated last time. I got so pissed off. It was like
So
Christmas for 3 months. I was waiting for these stupid things for 3 months, and nothing. Christmas got canceled. Oh, I was so mad.
That continuation in the vacuum of space made it break up.
Well, getting closer to the sun, the solar radiation from the sun breaks them up.
That'd be with them being made of ice, mostly, though, would it?
Ah, so infuriating.
Why would they break up, though? If there's no turbulence to separate them, even if they melted, why would that?
well, there is turbulence. I mean, we have solar wind and things like that. It's not a wind as we like feel the wind blowing against us, but the solar winds are protons and different, ionizations and that densities, heavy densities that wave through, like perturbations. So there is weather that's reacting to it, and space weather, I don't know. Space weather I've followed my whole life, it seems. I have been fascinated with, again, where it comes between the two, and never made any sense at all. Still doesn't. The more you look at it, the more no sense it makes on a sphere. But boy, the pieces really, really start falling into place when you do a flat Earth. It's scary how that works. I wish
Yeah,
more
my
people were
thought
looking
is,
into it.
for the most part, I don't believe most comets are real. I think they're just part of the whole let's push space, let's push space. I've only seen one comet in my life, and I think that was back in '04, or maybe it was in the 90s. Hale-Bopp, maybe 97, 98, maybe something like that. And it was real teeny tiny, just this little speck, but it was visible. You could see it, but it didn't like light up and look like it wasn't nearly as there was many stars that were brighter than it. So maybe the 20 telescopes on Earth that can see these comets before everybody else, maybe they're just not telling us the truth.
I don't know. I see comets almost like I see it as like running along filaments. And again, it works really well in a flat Earth because I'm not orbiting it the way they are. I'm more running it up in a spiral as a filament. If you picture, again, a bleak of energy and doing it on it. So they seem, I don't know, it's quite, I think they're picking up something. It's certainly not what
Yeah, I'm
they
not
say
saying
it is.
all comets have been fake, but until I see one of these that equals the moon in luminosity and you can see it during the day, I'm not believing
Right.
any of that has even ever happened. I don't care what the histories say and all that stuff.
That's interesting. Urban Gorilla says the last horse is green. Now, I didn't know that. I look at the different culture things. I know that they were talking, it's the blue kachina, not green. And again, green is to me, it's a color of balance. It's right down the middle. To me, it's not an in color. It's right in the middle. But it'd be interesting to see if one of the horses of the apocalypse, if it had a color. I didn't know that. So many different rabbit holes you can go down to on that. The leading horse is white. Did anybody know that the horses of the apocalypse had colors to them?
As you said it, Cammy, something rings a bell, but no, I don't know any detail, but I would imagine that.
I look I
Yeah.
look for the colors and the patterns and everything and that, I was looking for it. So I noticed it in some areas, but I didn't think of the horses as having colors. So that's something I want to look into. Thank you for that tip. Anybody else researching weird things this week or going in weird directions?
I found a crazy cartoon called What the Fuck 101, WTF 101. This is insane. It's like Magic School Bus for adults. It's so funny. She has a magic vape pen And when she pushes on it, it takes them to different places, and they go see crazy parts of history and crazy biological things. And it's all like real facts. It's one of those. Yeah, it's too funny. You got to check it out. WTF 101.
Zach shared with me one of these episodes, and it had to deal with parasites. And again, it was true facts about parasites. I suggest starting on a different episode. It was bad. It was really bad. It started off with this cute little caterpillar in the class saying ooh and ah, and this isn't so bad. And then when it was stung by a wasp or some type of thing that laid like eggs that ate the caterpillar alive from the inside, it was again a special cartoon. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, well, I probably shouldn't have stuck on that one. There's some better, that aren't as bad.
The last one is green. I'm sorry, I'm off. The second horse is red. The last one is green. The first one is white. What's the third one then? The third one is black. Black, white, red, and green. That's an interesting color. I'm sorry, I'm way off tangent. I'm reading our chat right now. And I'll be quiet and go back into the chat that's off of there. But that's an unexpected color pattern. It doesn't seem to match up with much. I'll have to think
Not
about
with
it.
horses, does it? You get black, white, and like chestnut red horses, don't you? But you don't get. I've not seen a green horse unless I'm.
Well, that's a horse of a different color.
That was a racist, Meakin. Stop it. Prejudice.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing, Josh.
And again, red is
on the Wizard of Oz.
well, white is a mixture of all the colors in light. Black is a mixture of all of the colors in medium.
Wow, I wonder what. Oh, sorry, Kim.
Oh, that's all right. Red is the baseline lowest color, but green. I mean, I could say that you want to start it with red and mix all of them, white to black or that. I can, so I can put red in there, but green for the last. Green is a color. The last one is green. I believe you, Urban. I want to look at and figure out what or why. But yeah, green is normally a color of grass, of health, of balance, of earthly. And if you take your base and even put it into realms, I mean, red is going to be your under realm. Earth is going to be green, going into the sky blue, and then the deep royal, the firmament, and the heavens and purple, and that going above. But again, your white and black are just sheer mixtures of all of the colors, one in light, one in mediums. But
In the Wizard
having
of Oz. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. No,
I was
you
just
go
going to
ahead.
say the horse changes 4 colors in the Wizard of Oz. It's white, and then purple, red, and then yellow. Just throwing that out there. I don't know why. It just made me think of the horse of a different color, so I went and checked.
And those are the higher, well, the yellow going down, the purple up higher. That's an interesting, again, I'm looking at it. Light, of course, is just how your eyes pick up the wavelength and the length of the wavelength and that. So again, they run in perfect order. One of the things they've done to us is our rainbow, which is a beautiful 7 colors, is they have in recent ages hexed it, turned it down to 6, and have dropped off a color. So just fun things to look at with color. Okay,
Yep.
we have a Cesar going.
Sorry, I was muted.
Yeah.
No,
Walt's not here to make fun of us.
sorry, I was going to say something and completely lost it.
I'm doing what they say not to do, like get lost and read the chat, and they're like, what you spoke of made me think of lyrics. Lyrics to what? But this is what happens when we don't prepare for the show. I didn't show up on Wednesday. Everything is discombobulated. It's scattered. It's everything feels fragmented, which I feel fragmented for me is a step above anger or fear. It's like trying to, grab the pieces and make sense of them right now. So in a way, a type of freedom, but it's awkward. It's not right. Again, change is hard.
Change is hard. Change is scary. But that's one of those things where it's good practice. Because that's just sort of being an adult, I think, is learning how to act in the face of your fears.
Yes.
Act calmly in the face of your anger. I mean, it's learning to control your emotions and act even though your emotions want to get the better of you. Learning to remain calm, cool, and level-headed and continue forward is the mark of a mature adult, I would think. Not that I effing know. But sounds good to me. Sounds like something I'd like to strive for. Something I do when I feel the fear start to take hold. Learn to keep it in perspective and not let it get out of hand. And learn to just keep putting that one foot forward, even though I might be scared. You can't just completely shut down and do nothing or lash out in some misdirected anger because you were scared. If you're scared, be scared, but act. Don't let it transfer into something else.
I think it's what you're saying is a mark of maturity. It's also a mark of what you talk about service to self versus service to others. When you're in service to others or, in somewhat not in that selfish mode, you care about the effect that you have on others. You assume the mature role and again, pull out to make the best of things as opposed to inwardly because you see the whole picture and everything around you and how it's connected as opposed to people that are locked into their selfish little worlds only thinking about themselves and only thinking about how this might affect me and how this again you get locked into that selfish fear factor and I think that's where a lot of the anger comes from and again you make it all about you I think you're going to disappoint yourself. Kind of harsh way to say it, but again, what you said, the maturity and just the going forward, it anger has a place in control, in a controlled anger, in a getting things done, but not as a generally it's used very self-destructively and destroy people around you. Usually it's used, I see anger used as a way to make people around you feel bad so you feel better in this misguided contrast that people try to create. Any thoughts on that?
I anger leads
Anger can be good and bad.
hatred leads to fear. Fear leads to suffering. It's all the same. To quote Yoda, it's the same path, isn't it? If you follow that, anger's useful. It's very energetic, but you can't let it lead to hate. There's nothing wrong with being angry. It's a reaction. It's a positive thing. Something offends your sensibilities. So there's nothing wrong with having your sensibilities offended. It's what your actions then follow that dirty the emotion of anger for me. How you attribute your actions. Oh, it's because I was angry. It's not because you were angry that you did it. There's nothing wrong with the anger.
It's all about control. It's just like fear. I loved in, I don't know what Rocky movie it was, but kind of dating myself there. When Mickey, his corner guy or whatever, manager, is telling him about fear, how it's a fire and you got to control it. And if it gets out of control, then it takes over. And, but if you can control it and use that, because fear, it's good. It keeps you alert. It makes you, it's like you said, it's an instinct, it's a reaction. But you
Self-preservation.
can't let it,
Go ahead, Zach. Sorry.
freeze. I was just going to say, you can't let it freeze you. when it comes to that moment. You have to control that fear.
Mm-hmm. Self-preservation is a very powerful motivator, but it can also freeze you up if you let that fear take over. It's and damn it, I had something else I was going to say, and now it's gone. Relating to
Yeah, but with what you were saying too, I mean, I think I love nothing more than to go out and play in the forest, and I hate nothing more than spiders. And as we all know, there are a lot of spiders in the forest. But I can't imagine the people that are so fearful of the spiders they don't want to see the forest. That would be the worst because again, you can just learn to play in the forest and observe where the spiders are so you can step away from them and watch them from a distance and maybe be in awe of their webs. It changes. They belong out there.
I had a student that's scared of dogs coming. The dog came in the shop. Yeah. Fucking scared. Even though there was a counter between us. Scared of it. Any dog. Big dog, little dog. Odd.
Oh, and what's
People like
funny is,
that crack me up.
and the dogs know they're
Afraid
scared
of a
too, so
little
they
dog.
growl. I know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, even the little dogs, they'll smell fear.
They're like, ooh, somebody's scared. I'm gonna growl at you. Gonna get you. Uh, yeah, it's not a good happy way to be. And again, because and what I just said is true. I mean, that dogs they recognize fear and they entertain themselves with it. So you've just now created your own worst nightmare. Just on feeling. So how do you work out of that one when you don't mean to fear?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Yeah, not locking up at that moment. Like when and it applies to almost everything that can happen. Like the car crash, people will say it'll slow down. And some people throw their hands up and go, oh shit, and close their eyes and turn their head and pray. While other people grab the wheel and make some crazy miracle maneuver and they don't get in an accident.
You just pay attention to what's going on and deal with what's in front of you. I know that when we did the conference, neither Zach or I are public speakers. In fact, we're both introverts. This is getting out for us. But we were both, somewhat terrified to go up on stage in front of people and do a talk. And then a funny thing happened. Everything that could go wrong did. The audio didn't work. The presentation part that we had hooked up to like a PowerPoint running it and that we pre-recorded all the sections. They told us that no, they didn't run sound for any of that. So, we didn't have any notes written on it because we had everything completely ready to go. And again, we did pre-recording it. The notes. Why would we have them written down? We did that part. And what we found is we got up there, everything went wrong, and yet we got up there and we did it anyway. And I don't know about Zach, but I felt like, wow, everything really that could have went wrong did. And yet, you know what? It really wasn't that bad. It was fun. So a lot of the fears are, you learn they're self-created. There that you put in there when what you're fearing, and even like the worst case scenario. I don't know if it was worst case. We didn't completely fall down or stumble, but so many things did go wrong. And yet I felt coming out of it that, wow, I went up there, everything went wrong, and people still applauded us when it was over. We can do anything. How'd you feel on that one, Zach?
Yeah, I was terrified and I didn't enjoy it at all being up there the whole time.
Weren't you proud of yourself afterwards, though? Come on.
After like the day after, when we got so much positive feedback, that's when I was really like, wow, cool, okay, we did our
It was
right.
worth it.
Even though it, like you said, anything that could have went wrong went wrong.
And we
it
were,
was like so horrible being
it
up there
was,
while it was happening. But the stuff
we
we
were,
shared, people really, they were like excited about it. Like, wow, I never thought about that. I'd never seen that before.
they cared about the information and they loved the topic and the stuff that we brought and the fact that it didn't come off as the polished presentation that we worked so hard to have as one and spent so much time preparing as, you know, it was ready to go. It was beautiful. And to have, so many things again go wrong. We had lights flashing in the room. We had fire alarm. It was crazy. And yet people loved it. They loved the information. They didn't care. They didn't care. So, again, I got a lot of feedback from people about you, Zach, and they loved having you up there so much. So if you ever get a call, do it again. You know you can do it.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, this is really going to put a damper on conventions.
Of course, conventions, meetups, anything like that. What we strive for, the in-person interaction. It's almost like they
Yeah,
planned it that way.
the after effects of this could still have serious consequences. And I mean, for a lot of us, we don't do the sporting events and the big, music festivals, but there are a couple of things that we do like to do and go out where there are supposed to be a large crowd of people. Are we ever going to be able to do that again without, you know, having to take some crazy precautions or something? Is this, I don't know. We'll see what comes of all this.
And it's moving forward and the world we want to make it. I know a lot of people are talking, a lot of people more so than ever are aware of feeling that their rights are imposed on. I think people might hesitate on taking a shot on it. I hope they are. I pray. But I don't know. I
Well,
think if we
can we
use this
touch
time to,
on what you were talking about, Adam, before the show?
What was
That's
that?
not like privy information about the vaccines over there in England.
I think there's a fair bit in there from, and shout out we are waking up. Good to see you, bruv. Discussing that same thing. I think it's probably quite pertinent. So to put it into context, one of the government ministers and the announcements today came out and announced that Britain, with all its heritage in medicine and science, technology, has decided to create a task force, a vaccine task force, to use all British ingenuity to fix this problem, because they can definitely see that a vaccine, can get one, sorts this shit out, no problems. So apparently they've now, like I said, created a task force, and they're encouraging all the institutions and academia to apply themselves to this most vital of times. So we are at war, remember. And I was chatting with my auntie tonight, who's a 70-odd-year-old nurse, been there, seeing it done, at my inspiration for going into medicine. And she just said, what a load of bollocks. And that just gives me hope. It's another great word to have in there, those titles, that even pensioners aren't having that. Get a vaccine. I've never heard. And I think if I speak to We're Waking Up, I think it's a very, very, very hard sell. They've got all their, they're like the ballers, they've got all their pre-statements, the importance of herd immunisation. Well, how are they going to get this through? Because I just can't. It's not just truthers that are going to tell them to shove it in their own arse, not mine. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a massive amount of even the sheeple that are not having this.
I mean, it's already I'm in Colorado, which is one of the few bastions left where you can do a philosophical exemption to vaccines, because just on the regular school vaccines, there is just a huge, huge group from the wealthier areas, not in Colorado, that read up and don't trust medicine on it. So they haven't been able to get it through with the children here. It'd really be an uphill battle to say the least. I think I I know that they're doing a hard sell on it, but I don't see it going easy. I don't see people. Some people will line up, but not all of them. There's enough vocal people out there. I think. I think
Yeah, we
there's
are
hope
getting some funny memes out of the quarantine, though.
that we are. I still don't know if anybody can beat New York's official no rim job meme that they created from the government. But there's been some good ones.
Yeah, I like the one they're sharing right now. The one I showed you earlier with Michelle Obama.
God, that was funny.
Michelle.
You have to describe it because you're not showing it, so you have to tell the audience, Zach.
No, I
Oh,
think
you got it. Oh, you do have it up. You do have it up. Excellent. I wasn't paying very good attention here. I was making the copy. I'm bested. Yeah, it's good to have humor and to keep humor going.
You have to in these trying times. So years and years and years ago, probably 15 or better, I bet, I had a little collection of my bug out stuffs just in case things went south. And over the years, it's kind of waned and dwindled. And again, I've just haven't felt the need to continue it, haven't felt the need to arm myself, even though I'm comfortable with guns. I just never felt the need to actually own and possess one. But I've recently had to break down and buy an actual bag in which to put all of my bug out stuff. And man, some of the bags they have out there are just awesome. I mean, the one I got, I paid just almost nothing for, and it's got a spot in the back for the hydration bladder, and it's a molly pack, so that it comes with packs on it, and you can add packs to it and do all sorts of really cool stuff. Like, it's just, so I'm trying to rebuild my supply for the bug out bag, right? I got the MREs and the HDRs and all that good stuff. Trying to find sheaths for knives to be accessible, all that good stuff. And I realize I've got a bunch of shit that I don't need and probably a lot of stuff that I need that I don't have. So, Zach, what are some of the top things in your bug out bag that you recommend everyone should carry? And you're probably talking and talking, coming up with all sorts of cool things to say, not even realizing you're muted. I don't know.
Turmeric?
Ooh, that's something I didn't even think about, were herbs and natural medicinals to carry with. I was thinking like a first aid kit for emergencies, but turmeric, that's good.
Well, whatever you bring, like first aid wise, get rid of all the packaging. Unless it's like hermetically sealed, leave it in that. But all the cardboard, all the extra stuff that's all extra weight. You got to remember you're going to be carrying this thing. So get rid of anything that you don't absolutely like. All of mine are in Ziploc baggies. I have it all broken down into, okay, this is for fishing, this is for starting a fire, this is for first aid, this is for water, and I just have all the little things I have for all that different stuff. in different Ziploc baggies. I got rid of all the extra packing and all the extra stuff that came with them. The lady from the Army taught me that. They were real big on trying to make things weigh less. And I couldn't believe the military rucksacks, the issued ones, they come and they have two handles that are like right on your back, like right where your kidneys are. There's these two little handles. And my buddy, he was in the Army, he did 2 tours. He had no idea what these handles were for. He said, nobody ever showed us anything. We just picked them up and threw them over our shoulder and put them on. And she showed me, because she was in the Army, that you grab those handles and you just throw the thing up over your head, and it's like 500 times easier to pick up this big heavy sack and get it onto your shoulders by doing it. It just like slides right onto it. And you're using totally different muscles that are much bigger and meant for lifting things like that. It's weird how, these things, you'd think they would have taught everybody this stuff.
So what you're trying to say here is the woman that read the instructions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
I'm sure the instructions came in all of the bags.
They probably did.
Just a little side note on that, but yeah, that's funny.
I
Yeah,
find
he said he never saw anybody put it on that way.
Because he was hanging with the guys, not the girls. Oh, that's hysterical.
so what
But
else?
yeah,
Any sort of tools? Any sort of
well, I have a machete that also has a saw on the other side of it.
the sawback? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I like the Gerber. I like the handle a lot, and it's light, but yet you can cut through 3/4 inch pine like it's nothing, like it's butter. So it's got a good swing to it, and it's not real heavy. It's weird how it all works. The handle's the heavy part, not the blade. So you get a good force, but
Without
I
wearing
don't-
out your forearm,
yeah.
your shoulder.
And then I also have a little hatchet that I
That's-
put in there.
Those are the two
Seeds.
things on my list that I have yet to grab: are a hatchet and a machete.
I have your strange one on it, and this is for your bigger bug out bag if it's you have a little bit more room or a little bit more space. But I know on camping and that it works good. I highly recommend baby wipes because if you get where you're in tight
Mhm.
confines for a long period of time or things like that, you can take pretty much a sponge shower or wipe down. And if you're again in a low water situation, it can be the difference between being bearable or not with the people around you. But again, one baby wipe goes a long way. So you can take a bath with a baby wipe.
Yeah, and see, there's going to be things that I wouldn't be able to put in a bug out bag that I would want to take with me if I were not bugging out necessarily, but like, a planned, careful extrication to a second location, where I could take a little bit more time and possibly take more things that I would need, like if I had a big, say, loadout bag where I could put things like baby wipes and cooking utensils and things like this. A lot of the
Right,
extra
things that
stuff.
like in
Well,
your car with you.
have
while you're-
multiple if you can. Like your bug out bag that you have, you said you can put a satchel on there or something.
Mm-hmm.
Mine came with one, the top part, the top eggshell looking thing. And that's where I have all my medical stuff, the only thing that isn't in there, and like all my fishing gear, all my fire starting stuff, I could take just that and, somewhat make it. I
Uh-huh.
could make shelter out of that little tiny thing. And then I have a couple like little life straws in there, the water filters. And then in my big bag, that's like for my personal. If I have to go and I don't have time for anything else and I don't even have time to carry all that stuff, I have to run, I grab that top thing I could make it with that thing, just me, for like at least a month with the water filtration and stuff like that. To have perfectly clean water and all that, then I'd have to work on it from there. And then my big bag has bigger filters that last longer. You can clean them, stuff like that. The seeds, a lot more stuff for multiple people in my big bag. My big bag, I also have a gas mask. Just don't ever want to have to use it, but it's always right on top.
And now there's something I
of my
didn't
big
even
bag.
think about was a gas mask. Damn it. And here's what's
Yeah,
messed up
they
is I'm trying to
come in
buy
handy.
for the family. All right, so I'm trying to make sure I have a bag stocked for my son, and preferably one for my wife, separate from mine. And then we got to have supplies for Ma just in case that becomes a necessity. So I'm trying to think big and plan big. But gas mask is a good one.
Mm-hmm. I have an Israeli civilian one. They're not that expensive. If you want the military one, it's a little more expensive, but I mean, it's charcoal filter that it uses, and they say it blocks out a lot of the stuff. Everything. Hope I never have to find out, but it's there. Another thing to have, the vests that safety workers wear,
The orange?
orange, yellow.
Mhm.
It's either usually one of the two. I have one of each color in my bag, just in case I need to look like I'm supposed.
Oh, very clever.
That is good.
Yeah, just in case. You never know, and they're real light. It's not, and they can make a good signal because it's bright orange, it's bright yellow, especially at
Fluorescent.
night. Yeah, you could shine a light on it and you'd see it forever. But well, not forever, of course, but you know what I mean. But yeah,
Until
just an idea I had, like, hey, maybe there's going to be some people wearing these, and I might want to look like one of them for a minute or two, passing through.
go on, Zach said that you could see it until the law of angular resolution. Sorry, but no, that's a brilliant idea. Absolutely brilliant. I like that. Very clever and well thought out. So, what else in the pack?
I have a slingshot and some marbles and steel ball bearings. Not too many. The marbles get heavy. Again, you want to keep down on the weight. You can always use rocks if you have to, but it's a good way for hunting small game very quietly. Don't have to carry around a big bow, worry about arrows and things like that.
I hear Hank barking while you're doing it. You say the small Hank's like, I got that, Dad. I got it.
He's my fetcher. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, a nod. Very good point in chat. The states, I watch these bills that they're passing. And I used to freak out about the bills being that they were passing. I used to say, I don't care what they say, they all lie. I'm not going to take their word until they put it on paper. That was about 2010, 2011, the end of my political pay attention mode. And when they came out with that NDAA Act, it said right in there in the writing, I think it was page 35 even, that every US citizen would be microchipped by 2017, March 23rd. It said it right in there, and this thing passed. And I freaked out. I was telling everybody. And I mean, this never came to pass. I never even really heard anything mentioned about it after that.
I think they switched from there to Real ID, and even that they've got on hold right now with what's going on. It was supposed to, Real ID, you were supposed to need that to fly in October, but they have to, the people that licenses are expiring right now. The offices aren't open to get new ones, and so they had to, I think, delay that a year.
Yeah, so I don't even put a lot of faith into what they even put on paper anymore. It's like, give me the Missouri state motto, show me.
Right.
Not that I want them to do this stuff, but I'm not going to believe that they're going to until I see it happen.
Frothy eloquence neither convinces nor satisfies me. I'm from Missouri. You've got to show me.
Yeah, that's good.
This is the sounds of the green chili stirring. We are having tonight the Mexican hamburgers, which are hamburgers covered with cheese on a tortilla with green chili and lettuce and tomato and a little bit of sour cream if you like it. So sharing the sounds by going.
Nice.
Getting ready to put the things on the grill.
Cook it up.
This is my part. We're not going to give it up for showtime, but yeah, I got a house full of boys, so I do sometimes cooking. Happen to like cooking, so it works really well.
That does work really well.
And as long as the guys keep on liking to eat my cooking, I don't think any of them like to cook, so I don't see that changing anytime soon as far as them not liking my cooking.
I love it. It's American.
It's basic, it works, it feeds us all. So yep.
That's the way to do it.
And a beautiful day to be outside grilling, by the way. Got to be close up to 60 now. It just feels so warm. And again, I woke up this morning to teens and 6 inches of snow on the ground. So day's definitely improved.
Yeah, there was a thick layer of ice on the windows this morning.
Yeah,
It was different ice, though. It wasn't like solid frozen ice. It was like porous ice. I don't know. It's different than back home. We get, I don't know, like solid ice, like ice cube ice on the windows. And this was, well, it was out in the sun for a little bit this morning. Yeah, the air. It's so dry here. It's so different. The snow is like fluffy, and it almost melts instantly once it hits the concrete.
that's yeah, April time of year. Sorry, April spring snows. A little bit different in February, but
Yeah,
yeah, the spring snows again. They come at 70 degrees the day before it snows. Today it's like 60, and again yesterday there were 6 inches on the ground, and we were at. I think we went as low as I think 9 degrees, so we went down into single digits. You'd never know it.
Huh.
Never know it today, right now. I'm looking for snow, a little peak of it, but I don't see any anywhere. It's another thing for people buying a house in Colorado. If you do move to Colorado and want to buy a house, you want to face your house to the south. If you face your house to the south, you have almost no snow showing or snow shoveling compared to the other side of the street, which again, we avoid having to shovel, I'd say, at least 9 out of 10 times. So if you don't like to shovel, it's all about positioning. We don't stay cold.
So crazy.
Yep, and I've just totally bored people to death with the weather. Somebody else take over while I'm cooking. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, well, you look at you see, you've missed my dog filled with helium. Quarantine day.
that's hilarious.
That's pretty good.
That was the most flat earth related quarantine gag I could find, that one. It's a relative density dog.
I've been reading about the electric field.
Thank you, Zach. I was just getting ready to head there.
And there's not a whole lot on it that I can find on this. And it's measuring the electric potential of the Earth's atmosphere over large distances. Because the way electricity works, the shape affects it greatly. The shape of an object affects how electricity will dissipate off of it. Like a perfect sphere falls off at 1 over r squared, just like light. But once you start changing the shape and it's not a sphere anymore, it changes that ratio. And the math become all different. Well, I found this. Let me see if I can find it again. This is the American Meteorological Society, the journal from March 2017. Atmospheric global circuit variations from Vostok and Concordia electric field measurements. And he's talking about these measurements, and I can't find a whole lot of them that have been done at this magnitude, these large distances. And these were done in 1976. And they're saying this is due to solar winds changing the way electricity works due to the shape, because on a sphere it should work this way, but due to the solar winds, it says it happens this way. The electric field response near Earth's surface is essentially the same as a uniformly applied ionosphere to ground potential difference for horizontal ionospheric scales greater than 200 kilometers. So pretty much they're saying that this is like being between two plates, an ionospheric plate and a ground plate that are horizontal.
What's the word beginning with F that you can use? Horizontal. What's that word?
Fucking not round.
That's the one.
But yeah, not many people have done these tests to these sizes.
So that's amazing right there that they're saying. I was talking about the solar wind in there earlier in the solar wind. If we just revise you on what it is, it's the interaction between, I would call the firmament and the dome, but it's measured in density and proton density, and it's a perturbation. So again, I don't understand how it could take it from flat to round via having a density of particles. Can you make some sense out of that for me, Zach?
No.
Okay, I don't think sense can be made out of that. So they're saying it works on a sphere because of our solar wind, because of the density of the particles and regions,
Yeah.
and therefore it has to be round, not flat. Okay.
But yeah, they're making, they're back
Making shit up.
reverse engineering. And where's the best place to manipulate your reverse engineering than space? Where you can just say whatever you want happens. They can't go there. None of you people can go up there and measure it. Shut up. I'm telling you, and that's what it is.
That's crazy.
So yes, and I was thinking of a way to do this a couple of years ago. And I never found this paper. Well, it was before that. It was, I think, 2016 maybe when I started. No, I don't know. I didn't find this paper though.
That's really strange.
But yeah, Park from 1976. The downward mapping of high latitude ionospheric electrical fields to the ground. I am read that paper.
That would seem a more plausible place to start that than trying to backwork an assumption of solar winds
Yeah.
into why
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that's interesting, and that this also, tells us that the electric field, at least whatever's creating this electric field, is not infinite. It's not just, let me rephrase that. It's not just one plate that is infinite. If you had one plate that were infinite, the electric field there would be no electric potential difference with altitude. The electric field would be the equal strength forever, infinitely up, because it's infinitely wide.
So in
Even-
non-nerd talk, yeah, what he's saying is you have to stack them.
Yeah, even a flat surface, once you get, if it has an edge and it's creating an electric field, once you get far enough away from it, it will start acting like a sphere, like a point source, because you're no longer within its variations. It will eventually start falling off at 1/r².
Zach, I have some for you. I don't know if you saw Kim Wheeler's videos yesterday, but one of the things he said was in like pillar magnets, when you had long pillar magnets, like with what we're working with, they created multiple dielectric planes.
Wow.
Just throw that one out there for you to think on and bite your head off, because that's where my brain's been going. But it didn't go along with what we were saying earlier at all. So I've been like sitting on it. But yeah, my brain's been cogitating on that a lot. I thought I saw that, but we didn't get the big pillars under the periscope or the carousel yet. So, but yeah, I said the longer you can get multiple on 2 pillars and get your third one in the middle again with multiple dielectric planes.
Interesting note. I saw one of his last videos on the ferrocell, and he was saying that it doesn't have to be like, you don't want a lot of the fluid, oil or the drops. He said there's probably 1/50th of a drop in that little
Right.
4-inch diameter spherical lenses that he's using.
More mass smoke, less ferrofluid. I was listening to that.
Yeah, he's getting some amazing views.
Results. I know.
Wow,
Wait
it's
till you
so
see the ones
beautiful.
on this. He'll show you, or he talks about it. He doesn't show you on this one. He shows you on another one on the multiple dielectric planes. Oh my goodness. Let's see if you guys can hear this. Can you hear this? This is my burgers. Do you guys hear that raging?
Oh yeah.
I got a fire going, and whew. Oh my.
Smells good.
Oh. Flame broiled. That was unintentional.
But yeah, there's so much to look into when it comes to the earth and the electric field and the magnetic field and all that stuff. This is what we should be teaching children in, elementary, middle school, high school. Is all this kind of stuff, how that works. But no, instead we're learning about space and the planets, and we have like 3% of the ocean mapped.
To the moon.
Yeah, to Mars, to the moon, to.
We have rocks and crystals forming all around us that we can see and we know it, and yet we teach children that it's all over with. The rocks were created millions of years ago. Nothing is, what's there is there. It's not. No, things were happening all the time, and we're taught to not look at it, not ask questions, and not be in touch with things around us, and it's not right. Needs to change.
What's the name of that temple, Cammie? I was telling you about, the real famous one.
Which? Oops, sorry, I just put out a fire. Which temple are you talking?
Was it Bangkor Wat?
Was it Angkor Wat that had the
It had an 800 square mile city that they are finding around it.
Around it, exactly. Not 800 square miles. That's
That's a big city.
Bigger than anything we have.
But yeah, they're taking X-rays from up above and finding this huge stone, and it's like perfectly outlined, just way bigger, a rectangle, same size as the temple. The temple sits right in the center of it, 40 miles by 20 miles.
A lot of ancient history out there. That's why it was important to have things like Pol Pot and all the Vietnam stuff, so they could go over there and just like they've done over in Iraq.
Syria, yep.
A shitload of it, yeah.
Raid and destroy.
Ideal. I suppose
Yeah, they just didn't destroy the pyramids because they couldn't. You think there's some reason they're being kept around and they excavated them and all that? Because they were covered.
lots of reasons for why the coverings have gone, whether it's just nicking it for temples. And actually, there's so much stone there you couldn't nick it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is probably the more likelihood. Or whether it's a remnant of flood damage. I don't know. But that's hypothetical, I suppose. So. But it's clear there was case in there, isn't it? But it's gone.
Yeah, I was thinking because they find pretty much just about everywhere you start digging. It seems like if you start digging deep enough and wide enough an area, not just a small hole straight down, you're gonna find something.
I think that's becoming more and more true, mate, isn't it? Even if you just look at your buildings.
Mhm. And when you think about it, we don't have any of the land really covered, at least not here in the United States. It's somewhat dense east of the Mississippi in places, but then you get west of the Mississippi and it's like open prairie, open forest, open deserts, mountains. You have a few big cities here and there, but the rest of the cities are much smaller and much further spread out. Just vast areas. I saw a sign that said 142 miles to the next food, gas, and water. Traveling through Texas. There's just huge places out there that are, nobody
Yeah.
lives out there.
There's a reason they don't live out there. I saw the desolate Texas once. I was watching an off-grid guy there that was like 139 miles to the nearest stoplight as far as having traffic signal. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was going from El Paso to Dallas and going through those West Texas mountains, there is nothing. Well, not really mountains. They're more like hills. There's some, it's up and down. It's kind of like the Ozarks almost, Josh.
Really?
Yeah. No jagged mountains, more rolly, but real up and down. They're not real big. It's not like the Smokies or anything like that. They're more like they're ancient, worn down, or got washed over by a shitload of water or something.
Watched out. That's amazing how different the mountains are in different areas. How much like up in Banff, how rugged up in Canada, how rugged they feel, and how I don't know. We have our pyramid peaks, like it's like rough and jagged there, and we have like our perfect little some pyramid tops of that on our mountains here, our majestic Colorado, and compared to the different hills and that, but just the personality of the land. It's something to stop and look at. I'm glad more people are doing it.
Yeah, I feel pretty blessed to be able to I'm glad I did my walkabout when I did.
No kidding.
Yeah, I tease Zach, though I could be wrong. I say there could be worse places to get stuck for quarantine, but maybe not. That could just be my own little delusion I'm living in.
You
No,
say
I
that.
don't know how I would handle this. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I'm glad
I
you're
don't
doing
know how Walt can handle it being stuck with a bunch of
people
the
that
walking zombies that listen to what the TV tells them. I mean, that would be hard. I don't know. It's very nice to be with awake people during all this.
Amen. Yeah, I was saying earlier before the show, and other people I'm sure have like experiences, but I was pulling my hair out, talking to my mother, who I adore and who is the nicest person, but she's in a retirement community, not a healthcare thing at all, but a nice, over 50s community and that. And I asked her if she wanted to come over for dinner, but we could drop her or anything or things like that. And she was like, "Oh no, I can't leave and you can't come over. You can come over and you can drop things in the lobby and I can come and pick them up from the lobby, but I can't see you." And I'm like, "Where are you getting all of these rules? What do you mean you can't see me or I can't go in and that?" And she said it was, I think, the homeowners or the community guidelines. But she's like, "Oh no, 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 we need to follow them." And she's it's frustrating. It's like you try to tell them, but she explains how no, 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 this is for the best in the whole bits. And her like biggest thing was that she didn't have any masks, so she feels like she can't go outside at all. And I told her like a scarf for that, but she was like, no. She really wishes she had masks. Now the joke is we do have masks sitting over here that I've had here for years because I have a teenage son that says he can't mow the yard because of allergies. And so and so I went out and I bought a couple packages of masks to make sure that like didn't stop him from mowing the yard. So I just happened to have masks on hand, but not not for the reasons that I should. So yeah, I guess I could donate them.
Well, grass ain't gonna cut itself.
But the grass ain't gonna cut itself, and yeah. So he'll be a bastion. Now he can't say he looks stupid out front mowing the yard with the mask on.
Sounds like they're both there to counteract the effects of porky pies. Sorry, lies. So I'm taking slang for you there. Sorry.
No, please do, Adam. We need all the help we can get today. I am pulling the burgers off of the grill. We are getting ready for the hamburgers for everybody that's joining us here for dinner. It's 6 o'clock straight up in Colorado.
It is. It's 7 here, huh? Damn.
I think it's raining up time when them burgers hit the buns.
It is. It's about time to What was
Okay,
that?
listen to this. I'm reading this paper. Advanced.
I thought you were looking at the burgers, Zach, there, the way you went, holy shit.
AGU, Advancing Earth and Space Science. The main purpose of this paper is to draw attention to when was this? 1974, I think. 1976. Copyright by the American Geophysical Union. Important but long neglected problem of electrical coupling between the ionosphere and the lower atmosphere. A numerical technique is used to calculate electrical fields and currents between 0 and 150-kilometer altitude produced by large-scale horizontal electric fields known to exist in the polar cap and auroral ionosphere. A two-dimensional model assuming a flat Earth and a vertical geomagnetic field is used.
Of course it is. Oh God.
The results show that the horizontal electric field in the ionosphere mapped down to 10 kilometers with little attenuation in agreement with the previous author's results.
That sounds real. I was going to tell you that was from like my childhood.
Wow.
And I know the rest of the science from my childhood has changed. I know that when I grew up, we had every weekend on our cartoons, we had the food pyramid that told us that the healthiest thing to eat on a Saturday morning was pizza because it contained all of the food groups.
That was my excuse. I used to eat pizza like every day.
It was
Till it
valid
messed up
science in
my
the
stomach.
70s.
Yeah. It's like I'm getting all the food group. I have
Yeah.
meat group, milk group,
Yeah, it's a perfect food.
tomato
Pizza.
sauce is my fruit group.
That's my vegetable. I can put a little bit of pineapple if I do want to put fruit and green peppers and yeah, pepperoni. You got it all. I do like how much science has changed in the perfect vacuum and nothing was out there and you know just so much in science has changed since I'm a little girl. But I think that what you just read is one of the things that may remain the same. That sounded like a very accurate article on how it works and not what they're
Yeah.
putting out there.
Assuming a flat Earth and a vertical geomagnetic field is used.
Well, they probably had to in order to get it to work.
Is
It
there
was
a
all worth it.
is there a rate of change with altitude figure? Is it?
Yeah, it's about 100 volts per meter, and that
So
is not
it is that.
falling off at 1 over r squared. It should dissipate more drastically than that, not evenly.
And Adam,
Just like light.
it follows you too. It follows like the contours of the ground. So if you're touching the ground, that volts per meter is going to accumulate over your head, not equal, to the ground. You're going to be a grounding influence.
So yeah, from the surface, it's altitude above the surface, as opposed to from the center of a presupposed spinning
Right.
ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering what the like buffer field was and that if you're trying to do energy collecting or anything on that, wouldn't it be like the best to just go out and hang something out over a cliff? Um, we weren't sure on how that worked or not, but because it accumulates quite quickly above open ground, but it's following the contour. So if you connect on to the cliff and have something on ground in between you, wouldn't that work? In my mind, but my mind's always asking weird questions like that. Zach, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was sending this to Bob.
So if you were doing collection, are you listening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collection
think-
of what?
I think I've asked this to Bob too because it's on my mind a lot. You know how they do with the little point collectors, working on the volts per meter and ways to collect energy, and they use the little spiky things, right?
Mm-hmm.
With all the needles, and the higher you put it, it goes up. The volts per meter squared goes up exponentially. It gets pretty high up there.
Yeah, I
What?
believe it's coulombs per amperes. And they
So
changed it to volts per meters.
and then it follows the contour of the ground. So again, if you're grounded, it's not going to start pull over your head and that. If you wanted to collect though, what about if you went on a giant ledge off of a mountain and
Well, you'd have to have it far away from the mountain.
how far would you have to get with
I
your
am not sure. It depends probably on the shape, the contour, how sharp an edge it is.
I wonder if it's following the edge as much as the top. Yeah, because it's like, wow, that would be the way to
The
I'm sure
best
somebody
way is like balloons, things like that.
right.
In like a big, giant, open, flat field with no trees or over large body of water near the center. You want it to be definitely the highest thing around. Yeah, the less that's in the area, the less undulation you're going to have in the potential because of the shape.
Very good, thank you.
So with that in mind, then, over water, whether that's seawater, that would seem again you need
Best place to do it, yeah.
or
And I was
salt.
thinking about doing this, and Effie Core even offered to sponsor me, but I started looking into it, and it's it's tricky even with all the stuff. It's not easy to do.
It would
And
seem if you could set up from a source point a perpendicular and allow that to continue, whether it be a line or whatever. So even if you allowed for support and sagging, as long as you could define its perpendicular and then measure the variance at different points along that, that would seem a much more plausible way than trying to kind of co-compare perpendicular along any distance, which is what you're trying to do. If you're able to define that the line you set out is straight, and then you can take readings from that, that's a lot easier, isn't it, than trying to confirm
at a mountain or a hill or yeah. I mean, eventually it'll level out. Once it gets so far away, the potential lines, they like to go to like a sphere shape almost. Like if you have a square cube, the potential lines will start off, they'll look kind of square, but then they'll start ovaling out and eventually they'll become like a circle once you get far enough away from it. But this, I still don't know. You definitely have to have a couple different people taking measurements at the same time. There's that daily pulse I'm still looking into, the Schumann resonance, it's better known as, but for some reason the electric field gains 15% across the whole plane of electric potential in the atmosphere all at the same time. It's not like, well, it happens underneath the sun, or when the sun gets to this point, it happens in this spot. Everywhere. It's like almost like there's a discharge somewhere, and it's amplifying everything for just that split second. And I think there's so many answers at the North Pole. I would rather go there than Antarctica. I'm
I
sure there's
agree.
answers in Antarctica, but I think there's more prevalent answers as to how this place works and not, is it a ball or
I agree
at
with you on
the
that
center.
one, Zach. And I think Greenland would also be another place like worth wanting to go to.
Cool.
Just for the reason of, again, that so many things circle above Greenland with the electromagnetics, that would be just
Mhm.
a interesting. Dude, you don't have a camera on, do you? Nope. Oh, you're downstairs. I was going to show you. I have a plate ready. It's beautiful. I'm delivering up to Globebusters. There you go, sweetheart.
Give Bob our best.
They give you their best, so you'll hear it. They're listening. He's listening.
Well, dang, Zach. Well, now that you got that covered, do we have anything else? I don't think I do. I know Adam and I are plum tuckered. Zach and Cammy are about ready to eat. Hell, I say we just call it.
An early night.
Might as well. It feels like it's that sort of night.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm ready for a hit the sack. And hopefully. Why is it always, Josh, at the weekend? You have glorious weather. Even now, Monday to Friday, glorious weather, and I've got rain tomorrow. But I want to get outside and just sit in the garden and not look at shelves of tablets.
Yeah, that'd
So,
be
yeah.
real nice.
Save you looking at equipment.
Yeah, fat chance of that happening. It's like my new favorite pastime. It's gross. The amount of things I get in the mail at this point.
Yeah, and Nod Beardall wrote in there, that is interesting. Why did Trump want to buy Greenland? Just the thought, I want to know why Trump wants to buy Greenland also and seems, quite obsessed with it. But I do know that again, over Greenland is where a lot of the magnetic things circle over. So the auroras and that will circle over Greenland. And why is that? So I think there's a lot of answers there.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something there. Something going on there.
And if you're bored and we're ending the show early and you don't have anything else to do, there's always 24/7 Discord. There's always guys over there and gals over there having some conversation. And I've noticed a lot more new people coming in to chat, hearing a lot of the same old 2015 arguments. But yeah, they're pretty good. They're polite. There's some trolling that happens in there, and they're well-known people that are trolls, and they still allow them to come and play. And for the most part, they're, as long as you're polite, they stay pretty polite. But yeah, it's a cool. I put it on while I'm like playing around with electricity and stuff. I'll just put it on in the background.
And then what I put on in the background is, of course, Globebusters 24/7 has got a couple of channels running in the background. So Globebusters 2 is primarily Globebusters and different videos in that. And the other channel we have going is doing a lot of Jeranism. David's videos are being featured on it along with another mix on it. So just as comforting to go and give yourself background stuff while again doing work or cleaning and that. I really appreciate that my husband does that. And I happen to be one of the main viewers of it.
Yeah, you'll find me over there too.
Any requests then as we roll on out of here?
Nope. Send lots of love to Walt and his mama. If you have any extra love to send, it would be much appreciated, I'm sure.
Oh, I bet it is.
Definitely missing Walt today. All of my loves to him. The Really Woke Show sent us. I'd like to send love back to the Really Woke Show, Roxanne. He sent a lot of people over here, so thank you, Roxanne.
Yeah, thank you.
Double O.
You guys rock. Loved the singing earlier. Didn't know the song, but very cool.
Well, I guess we can get out of here with a little bit of gravity.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Don't let the fear or the anger get the better of you. There's actually a quote I happened to run across this evening. This guy named Leonard Zunin, Zunin. I don't know if that's how you'd pronounce it or not. I don't know. But he says that, I believe that courage is all too often mistakenly seen as the absence of fear. If you descend by rope from a cliff and are not fearful to some degree, you're either crazy or unaware. Courage is seeing your fear in a realistic perspective, defining it, considering alternatives, and choosing to function in spite of the risks. So just take that with you and don't let these crazy assholes out there drag you down to their level. And if you got nothing better to do on a Tuesday or Friday morning at 4 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, you could head on over to the Truth Frequency Radio and say hi to myself and Zach and maybe Walter, maybe Jonathan from Jersey. He likes to pop in on occasion, sit in with us, as he did this morning. Just go to tfrlive.com and look for The Ironworks with my big ugly mug up there. But it's been another fabulous Friday. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will see you right back here next week. Probably. Anyway, everybody be good, be well, and we'll see you later. Toodles.
God bless. Good night.
Love y'all.
We're up pretty high, our heads are almost in the clouds, and their feet are chained to the ground with their chains of misery. They've got a hold of me, they won't let go of me. Let go of me. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you while you defy gravity. They can be cruel and mean and a huge pain. Our heads are in the clouds now. Don't let them make it rain. A smile can be